Jah Oil ñoom ñoo jiitu si wàllum jaay essence si biir réew mi te ñu def ko warugal pour kontaan loo suñu client yi boroom moto yi ak driver yi seen jaaxare jeex na léegi pour am essence bu baax ak njëg bu yomba lii sax moo tax ñu amal leen banxaas fépp si biir réew mi pour essence bu baax bu set benn place rek la muy Jah Oil soo soxlae essence bu set essence bu baax gasoil wala kérosine naa la wax ne Jah Oil rek mooy jëmukaay ga doxantul rek si bépp banxaasi Jah Oil nga am si bànneex ak Jah Oil seen bànneex mooy suñ taxawaay moo tax ñu amal leen banxaas bépp si biir réew mi nim gën a yombee pour yow ak suñ liggéeykat yu xarañ yi naa la won ne mbégte rek nga see jël pour am essence bu baax pour say machine fenn place rek la mooy sa Jah Oil ak Jah Oil bànneex kese la moo tax sax suñ station si nekk ca Costa Road ak Banjul wàññil nañ leen njëgi essence bi foofu noonu pour am si lu leer mun ngaa call si 770 8080 322 9070 714 7273 wala 787 1321 Jah Oil, the pride of the nation.
Because we take pride in satisfying every customer's financial needs.
Introducing the future of hassle-free and seamless financial transaction. The Una Wallet app, empowering you to effortlessly manage your money anytime, anywhere. With the Una Wallet app, you can now enjoy branchless banking, wallet-to-wallet transfer, wallet-to-cash, and bank cross-border payments, deposit at a bank, and withdraw from any Una branch. Get ready to experience the ultimate banking convenience with the Una Wallet app. With just few taps on your phone, you can effortlessly add funds, withdraw, and send money to your loved ones. The Una Wallet app also provides a detailed history of your transaction, making it easier to track your expenses. So, what are you waiting for? Download the Una Wallet app today on Play Store or App Store and say goodbye to hassle of traditional banking. Uno Forex Bureau Limited, delivering much more than money.
Hello and welcome back to our show. It's another Thursday and we are back here again in the studio with Madi Jobarteh and Muhammed Sandeng. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
First, to be back, huh? Mm-hmm. And but anyway, I cannot charge Edward Francis Small because I always charge everybody that wears there.
For advertisement.
But this one is our foundation.
This is our foundation.
This is our foundation, so I cannot charge you.
And Thursday is our
1 year?
T-shirt day.
Oh, Thursday is our T-shirt day. Oh, okay.
Yet small.
Okay. So you do Thursday T-shirt days?
Yeah.
Okay. You should give me one of the T-shirts.
Absolutely.
So that one of the Thursdays that I do a show, I can wear it.
Why not?
I'll definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Okay. Welcome back to the show. And Mohammed, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Actually, my show, this is the first time you've been on the brunch. How come? How did that happen?
A lot of time. But I think we had one, this was back in 2018-19.
Yeah, that was
with Fatima. And then
yes, with Fatima. Yeah, that was the one.
It's great to be back.
Oh, good. Nice. And the Rasta, where's the Rasta?
Shelved it.
When I saw the Rasta,
I was
like Muhammad Banghani wallet.
Yeah, Nko. Dole mbama for the friend of our program. But you are too decent for a Rasta. So this is my hair. What do you mean?
That's the lifestyle.
But then it was AI. Actually.
It was AI generated. Great. It's good to have you guys on the show. Today we'll be looking at the arrest of Sanna Manjang, but also first we were going to look at what is trending. What is trending, Madi, is lawyer Boriture of UDP, the statement he made, and obviously he's been questioned by the police. Before coming to the show, we know he was questioned. He's still at the police station. Our Fatou Network is reporting right now that he's been detained. He's been denied bail. I was trying to get to any of the UDP folks to verify that, but they're reporting that he's been denied bail. They have been at the police station since morning. What is your reaction? I saw you made a post about his comments. Yeah. Obviously, but Ibrahim Silla was not very happy with us not speaking or reporting the media and Madi Jobarteh.
Yeah, well, I struggled to get his body audio in the first place because the first time I hear about it, so I was asking around, but what did Boris say? Where was this? So it took some days before I was able to get it. I think I got it yesterday, actually. Yeah. Yesterday morning. And, of course, we reviewed it and we found the statement, disrespectful, incendiary. Not necessary in a democracy, in a multi-party democracy. I mean, in partisan politics, because, you could have said a lot of things without using those kinds of words. Yeah. And so on, But then, so suddenly, I condemn it. But I condemn today even more his arrest, because it's illegitimate. That is because it is not based on fairness, on justice, on professionalism, simply because you can't, in the same society, arrest somebody for a particular offense or what you suspect to be an offense, for which others also have committed the same or probably worse, and you never arrested those people. Yeah. So what it indicates is the IGP has politicized the police. Is putting the reputation of the police into question, and is directly endangering the country, the security of the country, the stability of this country, because the police is supposed to be an independent, impartial, objective, consistent institution that serves everyone and not under the control of any person or authority, according to the Police Act. Yeah. The police is not the defender of the president or the president's party or the government. The police is a human rights protector. So it to protect all the rights of all citizens. So where now you have a situation, some people infringe the law or rights and they are let go, the police does not feel compelled to take action, but then they will take action on other people. Yeah. That selective nature of law enforcement discredits the police, and therefore it endangers society, because it means another set of people like Bori and the people who support Bori would feel, marginalized, would feel unfairly treated, would feel discriminated. And in a society where we all belong, we are all equal here in this country as citizens. You have therefore created the fertile ground for resentment and for anger, and which can turn into violence or anything else. So I am shocked that the IGP would take this action, on Bori, when he knows very well that from the president, ministers, NPP executive members have all
mayor NPP supporters like Babukar Bahum.
Mayor supporters like Babukar Bahum and many others have insulted political leaders like Usainu Dabo, or Mama Kande, or Esa Fall, or Kemo Bojang, or MC Cham, or
an entire village, Kiang.
The entire community.
Insulted the entire community of Kiang. And he was questioned for 15 minutes. They all asked him to come. He went and he was spoken to, and they said he apologized to them. They let him go within less than 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But Bori, a respected human being, a respected lawyer, has been kept at the police station since in the morning.
So that is a travesty. And I think all citizens should be really furious about it, should be very concerned, because what this is showing is that this has been done in our name as citizens. And if we value justice and dignity and our sovereignty as citizens of this country, from whom the IGP derives authority and legitimacy and exercises in our name and on our behalf. Therefore, anyone, the IGP or any public official, whatever conduct they do, right or wrong, they are doing it in our name. And so, from that perspective, each and every citizen must be concerned, whether you support Bori or not, whether you agree with his comments or not. You should be concerned that your voice and power, which is, encapsulated in the Inspector General of Police, is being subverted, is being weaponized against a fellow citizen illegitimately and illegally. So every citizen should be very much concerned, that such could happen or is happening
Madi,
in this country.
That brings me to my question. How does it make any of us feel if, for example, you have called out Demba Sabali when he made statements like this? You have called out Dr. Ismaila Cisse. You have Humbalo and Madi Jobarteh, all of these people. Even Barrow, you called him out on something like this. Even let's even say these are ministers and the president, right? But a mayor supporter like Babukar Bahum, who insults an entire community, up to today he keeps insulting you and me and every other person, but the police always ignore that person's comments and insults to public officials, but they can select any other person who is opposing the president and subject them to these kind of questioning and detaining. How does that make any ordinary citizen feel as a citizen of this country?
It makes you feel you are secondary. It makes you feel that there are some who are more equal than others. And it makes one feel, as I said, you understand the very meaning of it, hugely furious. And you should feel guilty as well, because this is done in your name. So that indirectly we are the perpetrators of what is happening to Bori. And the IGP, of course, on his part is just showing that he's just a coward, that you have been appointed as IGP based on law to implement that law. All right. And the law is very clear. You are not under the direction or authority of anyone to enforce the law. So to violate that law and enforce it in the interest of some people against others is cowardice, is dishonesty, is unprofessionalism. And, I think this IGP, Sidi Mukhtar Touré, will go down in Gambian history as, one of the most, I mean, dishonest and unprofessional Inspector General of Police who has, undermined the credibility and the legitimacy of the Gambia Police Force, which is a public institution created to serve the Gambian public, impartially, professionally, without fear or favor. But it is very apparent that he is using the police, based on fear and favor. All right, fear of the people on whom he acts, to suppress other citizens and to favor them as well, against others. I mean, I think it's a very shameful day for every Gambian who fully understands the meaning of what is happening. And Father, this is so deep because, we came out of a dictatorship for 22 years. The Gambia Police Force was weaponized against Gambians. And in any way you can imagine. They have arrested people, anyhow you can imagine, at any time, for reasons that are not legal at all, purely out of fear of the regime and in favor of the regime against the sovereignty of Gambians. And that was the shameful history of the Gambia Police Force. So that when we get to this point, with the mantra never again, to now come back and see that police, returning to that era of politicization, that era of selective justice, that era of weaponization. I think it is scary, it is shameful, and it is very concerning that every citizen needs to, be aware of this and stand up to say, look, and never again should be never again.
Never should be never again.
Definitely.
Mohammed, what is your reaction to Boris' arrest? And obviously, he's been detained up to now.
Well, just like Uncle Madi said, first of all, I'd like to say, Uncle Madi, I feel like I'm having a refresher training on con law and human rights.
I know.
But just as Uncle Madi mentioned, right, it's a continuation. It's just a manifestation of something that's already ascertained, right? That the IGP and the police are basically used as tools for the political class, right? We've seen, like he said, the NPP side has said very inflammatory statements. They've made very inflammatory statements over the year, in their rallies. And nothing seems to happen with them. Nothing seems to be wrong with them in the eyes of the police. And, but now you see this trend is more dangerous than just political playoffs, you know. It's more of, I look at it as an issue of ordering, right? You have a certain section of society that you order, and then you apply the law to them in a certain type of way. And there's this other part that is treated in a different way, right? The law doesn't apply to them. And that's a problem. But again, it's the political class that doesn't want to do what it has to do and continue using the these state institutions. And again, we have weak people in these institutions, and that's why it was important that we strengthen the institutions at the time when we did the change, right? Strengthen the institutions, make sure you have not just the policies, right, but have people of integrity in these places. And that does not just stop at the IGP's office. Again, that is the same call that people have, a call for integrity and a call for professionalism and equality. Even, it's expected even from the highest office, because this all is just like a spiral that we all know where, all these things are derived from, whether it is the associated power or the authority exactly. We all know. I mean, we know that NPP supporters would actually influence and say words that, yes, this person has to be arrested. And then the next day we see them get arrested. Yeah. It's very sad that that is happening. And then, but again, it's an issue when we did the change, like in 2017, like you said, we had a never again mantra. And these are things that were, and I think even worse things are happening now.
But that mantra, is it really realistic now? Can we keep saying never again? Because we're just seeing, I'm sorry,
it's a shame.
We are not seeing people being killed, but the arrest and all these things, that is the same.
It's a shame that it's happening, because what happens is when these things used to obtain, for example, during the dictatorship, right? We had a chance at redemption. We did a change, right? We set up all these institutional frameworks to be able to change these things. It is a shame to witness the Gambia Police Force now Few months ago, they did the craziest thing they could ever do in Jaba.
Yeah,
No,
Jaba.
in Jaba.
Jaba, yeah. Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
and then there was the other journalist lady, Aissatou Bokum, whose house was, you know,
Tear gas, yeah.
just imagine that. What kind of conduct are they showing? It's like professionalism is eroding the police force. And what the police don't understand is this is authority, like he said, that's derived from everybody else.
Yeah.
And then they go back to the people. So even in the nature of how that happens, it is not sensible for people to use laws in this way. Not just in the selective way, but also in the brutal manner that the police, because they see there's no consequences happening with these things. And again, that is all owed to the fact that the head of that institution, who is the IGP, will not care to apply the law how he wants to apply it. It applied where he feels he's got pressure and where there's hiring and firing power. He applies it on the side of that. And then it's a sad situation. And, you know, this is not even political. It's not even a matter of political trade-offs. You know, it's a dangerous problem. Yeah. Because if you are, if you do not have a political connection in this country, and if you are not seen to be part or close to the political class, what does this tell you? If a lawyer like Bori, this is being happening to him, right? It's the law, it should apply to everybody else, right? But that is not the trend that has been set. And so now it makes people feel less of citizens as opposed to others, which is not right.
And today is the 4th. Exactly 1 year today, we will know who is going to be the next president. What I'm saying here is because the election will be December 2nd, right?
December 5th.
Oh, December 5th. Okay, 3 days to that. Yeah. So, but exactly 1 month, 1 year now, we will be selecting a new president. But that means that the election season is already open. Now, if the government political class can say these things, obviously the opposition will also respond back. Yeah. What kind of political season are we gearing up towards? Because they're going to say, we have seen and heard what the president and others have been saying from Brikama to K and what they have been saying. And I said this, when the president went to North Bank, he never said anything about the leaders there. He went to URR. Obviously, not everything is going well in those regions. He came to Brikama. It's a whole different game. There's nothing they have not said about the chairman and his whatever. KMC, they have come there and they have said the same thing. And they went to the point of telling, the president told the residents of Brikama, na after development, la alkana karte fay, ala la chairman obondi. And I think yesterday he said it in Bakau also. He said in Bakau Fananko, na after development, la ala local leaders will falling from National Assembly to the chairman. So it looks like the president and his team can say anything. But the opposition, if they say it, they will have to face the law. That is what we're seeing right now. Yeah. If this trend continue going into the election cycle, what kind of campaign are we looking at?
Again, I just feel, I mean, the campaign in Gambia has always been that sided. Go to the 2021 election cycle, similar things happened. We all know these things were building up from that point to now. It's like a continuation. We're not talking about a very separate thing. But what it shows is the fact that the opposition is a player, likewise the incumbent in the political ways, right? But the police is a public institution that's supposed to be fair and is supposed to be policing, you know, both sides. Now, and very impartially. So if it's seen to overlook certain inflammatory statements coming from the the ruling party, and it now jumps to react in this other way, it's not a fair situation. And this is state power that they have. They have the state apparatus, right? The same ways there used to be all that intimidation, all because of state power and all. So it's just going to be an unfair situation, and it's always obtained, really. It's always obtained, but it's going to be an unfair political season, definitely, because you're going to have the police shutting down the opposition and everybody else and telling the presidency to say whatever, or
Yeah. You know, Fatou, this is why I have always insisted or, stated that the incidence of hate speech, political intolerance, polarization in our society is caused by the state, that is the government and its ruling party. And in any society, practically, they would be the culprit. Simply because power and leadership is in their hands. So that the president, yes, you are a politician, you belong to a political party, but, which has huge responsibilities by law, because the IEC Election Act is there. Section 2092 of the Act is on code of conduct.
Yeah.
Code of campaign ethics. And then also you have all the political parties have created this thing they call inter-party committee.
Yeah.
It has an MOU and a code of conduct. So by law, there are standards to meet, which all political parties share to meet. But beyond and above that, you are also the president who has sworn to uphold the Constitution. The integrity, the stability, the professionalism of the institutions of this country rests with the president ultimately. And that is not to order the police to do A, B, C, and D, or the courts, but to create the environment in which you don't infringe on the courts, respecting separation of powers, or the parliament, but also you don't infringe on the police or on NAWEC, or to make them do unjust, unfavorable, unfair practices. So that responsibility rests with the president to make sure the rule of law applies. And that awareness has to be in the president's head to realize this is a fundamental obligation. So the failure of that, particularly on the Jame, is what we are seeing on the Barrow. They all failed in that oath of office that they've taken. So that they have allowed their one as the head of state in charge of the institutions of this country to undermine the independence, the integrity, the credibility, the professionalism of institutions. Jame interfered with so many of them. All right. And now we are seeing Barrow do so, such as the police. That is just one of them. All right. And then you go further, that, also that you are responsible also for the peace and stability, the unity of this country. It rests in your hand as a president.
Yeah.
So that even as a party leader, you have an obligation to rise above, to realize that beyond and above being a party leader, I'm the head of state and I need to keep this country together.
Yeah.
And we can see different presidents in different places demonstrate that even at a time when they face severe, unfair, and unjust, say, attack, criticism, or so, but they did not lose the fact that they have to toe a certain line.
Yeah.
Now, our tragedy in this country is the failure of the president to recognize that and put himself on that line. But not just that failure, but even go further to encourage it. So you look at Barrow, for example, in July 2024, you started a platform said, Ousainou Darboe, I will be president until Ousainou Darboe dies. And I go to his burial.
And confirm that he's
dead. And, wash my hands, something like that. Now, you look at that statement, as head of state, there is no space in your functions.
Yeah.
All right, for you to say something like that.
Yeah.
In terms of democracy, there's no value. Multi-party democracy, there's no value or contribution that such a statement would bring to the good of yourself, your party, the rest of the country.
Yeah.
All right. But you say that.
You say it anyway.
Yeah. So from there on, therefore, if Bahum says what he says, if Mbalo says what he says, or whoever says what they say, then who is responsible? So I think going into the election season, as you said, one needs to wake up this president to realize his duty, his moral obligation, morally as a leader, and you can pick it from anywhere, culture, religion, as human beings. What are your moral obligations? That he needs to be aware of that. And then what are your legal obligations in terms of what is in the law, the constitution and laws of the Gambia, to recognize that and stand by those legal obligations. But what are also your political obligations, in terms of our policy institutional frameworks, and decision-making processes. Where do you stand as a president? So these are all issues that the president needs to be aware of and guided. That I can contest with these opponents, because at the end of the day, what are you contesting about? You are contesting about governments giving you the mandate so that they can hand over to you the authority to manage their resources and to protect their rights. Right. Election is the long and short of it. That is it. Yeah. We are just trying to elect a president to do what? To give him our money. Yeah. So that you use that money to protect our rights, build us roads and schools and hospitals, create opportunities, services, and an environment in which you as Kerr Fatou here should be able to open a company like this and and engage and earn a source of living and expand, because the economic policies and processes and laws and structures are such that it empowers you. That me, as a youth man there, or Muhammad, can go and build, a poultry over there or a welding machine and be able to, can go and get a loan to be able to set up something like that and flourish. Better economic policies. I mean, if somebody, a small boy like Mark Zuckerberg, can build a company in America, and I think he's among the richest people in the world. Why is that possible? It's not that Mark Zuckerberg is extra intelligent, or is, I don't know, because the politicians, the policymakers in America have created a situation where with some ingenuity, with some idea, some initiative, you can go and invest it. You have the means to invest and make it. There's a working system. Yeah, it's a working system. So, and there is a difference between us here and, say, United States or Europe or anywhere. No, what they did in that place is create an environment in which, if I am a dancer, I should be able to dance in a way that I should be able to make money out of dancing. And we've seen dancers in America. They're among the richest people there. Musicians.
America might be
footballers.
Might be a fine example, but Senegal.
Yeah. So you have here talented young boys and girls, and they cannot just cross over to go to the next step. So these are the things you need to be thinking about, as president. But these are the things, first and foremost, why we elect a president. So in that case, there is no need to tell about, I want to see somebody die. All right. All you need to do is, what policies are you going to bring? And defend those policies.
Yeah, but some people don't have policies.
Yeah.
And that becomes the problem.
So which is why our country has drifted, and it never again is in the situation in which it is. I mean, not just in terms of the police. We're just talking about the police because this happened. But we are in the middle of a Meet the People tour. Yeah. For example. Now, again, you go to the law and see what the law says about the Meet the People tour. And what was Yajame doing the Meet the People tour? Quarreling with the people. All right? Garwaling the people. Yeah. All right? I mean, insulting the people. All right? I mean, we would think that 2017, when we get to this point, the Meet the People tour would change.
Definitely.
To something else. But we see the same practice going on. And never again also is about, never again should we have the same kind of Meet the People talk. But, we are still seeing the same thing. So, I mean, it's a pathetic, reality that we are living. And I think, as I said, this president needs to be, somebody needs to peku him to wake up, to realize the huge, sacred, historic responsibility in his hands. And reverse this country, turn around this country. Yeah. Maybe, what is our person?
Sometimes it takes the person, sometimes it takes the person. If you don't have the person, it's just not the person. It's just
not possible. Yes. But it looks like the word third term is the problem, because, it looks like everybody on that tour was agitated by the fact that Boris said, "Nkana song baro tata baro manyana ron la tata." Because by looking at from listening to all the statements from Honorable Maifati to Ibrahim Asila to all the ministers, they all, instead of addressing other issues on that tour, everybody came ham on the tata, trying to tell us how it was. I mean, we all know our constitution allowed the president to run for a third term, but morally we think the president should not be running for third term.
I don't know. The other problem we have is we have a system that
maybe we should keep talking about this third term so that
I don't know what
it agitates them anyway.
I don't know what really the right definition of state capture would sound, but I feel like we have our country captured under some form of captivity, which is we have people that post like development workers, government officers, but we are not doing that because we all know Barrow should not be going for a third term. This is the truth. Barrow has shown us that he is completely incapable to be able to do this, right? We've given him 8 years. The government will continue to run, right? Even if we did not have a head of state, the government, the machinery of government would run, right? And now if you have a head of state, it's because you have somebody who has some form of leadership that is tangible enough to make an effect on how that machinery is run, that government. But Barrow hasn't done that. The only good thing that really came out of Barrow is how wealthy he's gotten, how popular he's gotten, how many people benefits of his presidency. And that's the reason why you would hear all the conversation about third term, about how he goes off or not, right? That is what agitates them, and that is the conversation they have, because they want to sustain that system that will not attempt to change the system. It's not going to attempt to make sure never again is a reality. It's not going to attempt to give us better economic policies. We'll continue to beg and spend it on things that do not, it's not productive, right? So those people, they will, that's their job. That's what they will do. They will continue to defend this setup so that Barrow doesn't go. We don't have a president who is thinking like Uncle Madi just said, a president who thinks, I have a country that's 2.5 million people, and we have certain form of opportunity to really turn this country around. Let me seek good policies, right? And get them to happen, right? Let's also respect the rule of law. This country came. We don't have that. Barrow is not the one to do that for us. So that's why it is every young person in this country that will tell you the fact is that Barrow hasn't shown us the reality. I mean, we don't have the hope to give Barrow another opportunity. We've seen a lot of people get rich, really, but not the condition.
For me, it is not even about his capability or incapability. About the third term, which we need to talk about.
Yes,
and it is not about the constitution. The constitution did not bar him, because we hear that.
That's what they said.
Because that constitution, we have all agreed a long time ago that it is not fit for purpose. It needs to change.
Yes.
All right. So that constitution, morally, politically, we cannot go and rely on it in terms of, particularly if you are thinking of the future of this country, building this country, or best practice, or what is good for this country. We cannot refer to that constitution. And so when you look at the issue of the third term, it is in the interest of this country that no one serves more than two terms. Really. And no one has better expressed that than Barrow himself.
Yes. And
I wish people go back and read the coalition, Barrow's manifesto 2016. And the coalition MOU 2016. They laid the very idea of it is to end self-perpetuation. That is the goal.
Correct.
And Barrow, in the first paragraph of his manifesto 2016, that was the first thing there, to end self-perpetuating rule. In the MOU, it is there as to have two goals. The first goal is that. All right. So when he was inaugurating the CRC in 2018, he repeated it there. In 2017, Barrow had multiple interviews with media houses and emphasizing how he will just be do 3 years and then go back to his business. He's a businessman. So, and this is why I'm also unhappy with, UDP or Bori, in his comments in this, because all we need to do is to enlighten our people, to expose the inconsistency, the dishonesty, all right, of Barrow and the NPP and all those who are talking about the third term on the basis of the 1997 Constitution. that is baseless, because we cannot talk about third term or the lack of it, ignoring our historical experience. Because these things come in a context. It's a reason why we are talking about a third term or no third term. All right. So regardless of the law, this is a principle that all Gambians should have agreed.
Yeah.
The fact that we are here today, 2025, and Barrow is seeking for third term in 2026, it in itself indicates the failure of never again.
Never again.
Because never again is anchored on no self-perpetuating rule. So one could have said, as I said, 10 hours talking about why we should not have a third term for anybody. And this does not have to do with Barrow. It is anybody. And I hope every citizen will get up and say no to third term. And if we cannot pressure Barrow to withdraw from putting his candidates in 2026, that all citizens go and vote at least against him. So that in practice you prevent a third term for one individual. I think that should be a conscious decision by each and every Gambian.
Should this be something that we, the media and civil society, should start engaging Gambians or no to that? It doesn't. This has nothing to do with Barrow.
No,
it's just as a country we don't want.
Yes, this is about our republic.
Our republic.
And as Edward Francis Small Center, we have taken that principled position. We've shared with civil society our initial thoughts. Why we should stand up against third term, and we are developing a whole agenda 2026, all right, and which we would share with Gambians and everyone. We said we should not have anyone serve for more than 10 years in this country. That one, I mean, even if you drop from a mango tree, nobody should serve for more than 10 years. That should not be a conversation. So, and anyone telling us about 1997 Constitution, nothing can be more dishonest than that, as you would hear Ibrahim Asila or Ismail Asise or Sehumbalo or Bidamba Sabali or Sirin Jai and Barrow himself and the rest of their people trying to drum about. Why? 1997 Constitution, we had the TRRC. Lawyers sat before they saw and others. They have shown the 1997 Constitution is unfit. And we know it.
But all these people that you named, at one point, they have all openly said that Barrow, there should not be a third term. All of these people you have mentioned.
Absolutely.
So what happens to us as a people? Is it because when we're in power, we say a different thing? When we are not in power, we say a whole different thing?
I think Michelle Obama. But I think also somebody... Abraham Lincoln said it also earlier in a different way. These people, this is how they are. Yes. So that when Ismaila was talking about a CA leader at that time, no to third term, that Ismaila was not Ismaila. No, because he did not have power and privilege like today. So the real Ismaila is now what we are seeing. So as Obama said, power reveals who you are. It doesn't turn you into something else.
It reveals you.
It just reveals who you are. It's like you come with a cover and power removes the cover and we see, he has only one eye.
It's like a catalyst.
Yeah. So that is all. I mean, so we I mean, I'm me, Muhammad is Muhammad, Fatou is Fatou. Tomorrow, if you make you president of the Gambia, and then Fatou starts to cut down mango trees, that is her. We not say Fatou has been changed by the position.
But that's the real Fatou.
That's the real Fatou we are seeing, because they all sat down at one time and expressed all the good things about democracy, about the Gambia, the love for Gambia, for justice, for rights. And then they've been given the opportunity to serve their people. And they weaponize that position against the people, which is really tragic.
So again, I think it's more of the same thing I talked about, right? You have a setup, right? That is going to be taken advantage of at every given time by unscrupulous people like that, right? That is the same problem we have. Why we have an emphasis on what kind of leadership we have, right? Because you have a state minister and they can talk like that. is, is inconsistent with, but again, it's a whole setup. It's a whole political class setup. Imagine you have now the IGP, who is already like a political tool, right? What do you expect from the government agencies? They probably be that. But that's again the same problem why we said the 1997 Constitution is not fit for purpose.
Yeah.
Because that is the same problem we're avoiding. If you can appoint the IGP and you can fire him without giving any reason or anything, that is what the law says. But then that is a bad one. Because that means you can weaponize the office of the IGP and do whatever. So again, the same thing about the 99. I mean, I think we have we're on a road that we haven't abandoned yet. So it really depends on us to stand firm and continue to call for never again. It hasn't really completely been abandoned, but then we have to ask for it, right? And that's the problem we are faced with. And at that time, I think really would be the actual failure of a never again.
Never
If we
again.
can stop that. That would be interesting.
The president is on the Meet the People's tour, and obviously this is a constitutional mandated tour. Last week we talked about the funds that have been spent on taxpayer money that is spent on the tour, which is outrageous. But it's also the messaging. I think during the tour, one of the key areas that has been really hitting this country and economically is really, if the economists look at it, should affect the country, is the cement shortage. And I have not had any time out of all these meetings where the government addressed it. Yesterday, I bought cement. I think for the past 2 weeks, we have been looking for cement. Nobody is able to get. Yesterday, I bought a bag of cement for $600. A week ago, I bought it for $475. Just in 1 week, almost $100 and something difference. The ministry just issued a statement about this. This is the first time, I think, in 3 weeks or in a month. They just issued a statement, and they're saying that obviously the government decision for importation of cement remains guided by its long-standing policy objective of promoting domestic industrial development. This policy aims to support investment, enhance additional and create sustainable employment, stuff like that. But because of this issue, they said they have the issue has to deal with the Gambia Ports Authority, where vessels are not able to upload, blah, blah, blah. And then the industries, the cement industries like Jar Oil and others are not able to get their cement to be able to. But in the first place, we privatize the ports to have effective running of the ports. That way we can have all this thing. Now, number one, you're telling us that privatization has issues. Now they are saying what they're doing for interim measures. The government's response to this, the authority has assured government that all available resources and operational capacity will be deployed to ensure that the dredging is complete within the shortest period, blah, 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 so that the vessels can dock and we can have the cement. But in the interim measures, in order for ensured continuity of major public and private construction works in this period, government has introduced an interim measure allowing contractors implementing major projects to directly source importation of cement through the existing SIC holders investing in cement sector. Now, they have added the cement from Senegal and other neighboring. You used to pay $30 per bag. They, 110% increment to $180 per bag. That is why cement from Senegal was not able to come. I think that's what they're trying to say. They're trying to put that interim measure back so we can have cement flow in the country. Now, the people we have said this here on several occasions. These people that bring cement into the country, I am a supporter of helping domestic businesses grow. That is the only way our economy can grow. That's the only way this country can grow. But also, the people that are bringing cement from these neighboring in Senegal, they are Gambians. And they're employing Gambians. Now, and now today, everybody, me, you, and everybody is affected because we cannot get cement, number one, but we are also sourcing it at a higher price because some people are hoarding it and taking advantage of the situation. What is your...
Yeah, so, Fatou, I mean... I'm really furious. I mean,
yeah.
So you wonder what is the job of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs and the Ministry of Trade?
Yeah.
Really, to the point that you would say cement from Senegal, you put such a high tariff on it, knowing very well that is effectively to block them.
Definitely.
Why would you block them? to say you want to promote local industries. What do these local industries do other than packaging?
They don't even, yes,
right?
That's all they do.
And then you have this port that you have sold to a foreign company. Why would Gambia Ports Authority dredge the sea and not that company, Alport, which is its name? All right. And why would we wait until now for us to be in this situation now to be talking about that?
Yeah.
All right. When you know very well, without giving Alport, Banjul Port to this Alport, GPA has the capacity, has the resources. If you minus the corruption from there and increase the efficiency, that they could have not only dredged the sea, the port to allow certain ships to come and anchor, but we would have expanded Banjul Port further into the sea to the point that there would be no need for dredging anymore, because the wharf has gone deeper into the sea to allow any kind of vessel to anchor. And how is this a difficult idea or a strange idea? Honestly, you know, how? But then you wonder, what do folks who sit in the Ministry of Trade, who sit in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, managing the economy, the commerce, industry, you know, employment of this country? This is what I said. What kind of policies, measures, actions, decisions do you take to create an environment so that in a place like America, a small boy called Mark Zuckerberg can go and create would have the opportunity to create a simple thing and then become a millionaire, a billionaire just like that. You know, so we sit here at this moment and we are complaining of nothing other than shortage of cement in the whole country, simply because we said the port is not deep enough to allow other ships to anchor. I mean, it's a shame. And then you look at the Meet the People tour, like you have observed, I was also observing. You don't, I mean, just yesterday, I was at a place and they were lamenting about cement. All right, people's construction, you know, delayed on hold because of cement. But all throughout the tour, did you talk about cement?
No.
Did you talk about the high unemployment rate?
No.
How do I deal with this? Do you talk about the high prices? All right, because it's very common to see, you know, Ismaila go and sit over there to say prices are stabilized, which is a very misleading statement because they say it in a way as if to say prices are affordable, you know, when that is not the case. But we are not dealing with that. What are you saying about the backway? I've not had any conversation about the backway in the Meet the People tour. That phenomenon, why is it happening? We've not talked about the SMEs. How do we uplift the government informal sector? All right, and so on. So you have people who are responsible for the management of our economy, all right, and they sit there and don't take any decision, and they just, you know, bombard us with press releases like this, which at the end of the day you read top to bottom and you wonder, what are they trying to say, really? So I mean, it's such a tragedy that, you know, this is the case, and therefore, if the high cost of living in this country, unemployment is high, services are poor and expensive and erratic, is it any wonder? Is it any surprise? This is the tragedy we face here. But I mean, why would we go and GPA? Because GPA, you said you gave the port to a new person, called Alport. I mean, in fact, that reminds me, because they were going to take a loan some time ago, which I don't know what is the situation now. And then you're talking about another port in Sanyang.
But the idea is that even whatever is happening to the port, right, and whatever is happening to whoever is doing cement in Gambia, that should not be a reason why you have such high tariffs for a business that you know is totally unsustainable, just like what happened with Julbrew, right? So if you do that, that trade is closing down, and then you don't even have those that are what they call them SICs, right? The cement in importing companies. But then these other ones, the ones that are here that are doing what they call local production, which is just packaging, right, and selling, distribution. So it's packaging and distribution, right? If they don't have the capacity, whatever capacity is not just what you are able to produce, but it's what you are able to produce at a given time. Now, if their capacity falls short, why must you put in a policy? Because I remember, backstory, there was actually a back and forth with the cement importers and then the policy, because they had always to take the tariff up. And whether it's your intention or not, once you put a tariff up and it's unsustainable for that sector, you're actually crippling that sector and killing it. And then it's mostly young Gambians in this sector, right? You have other companies that you say you are putting the policy in place to support local production and whatever. How many do they employ? If you look at all of those things, even if whatever, but the point is there's not a fair policy. And so sometimes it goes beyond just this kind of press statements, but it's about the policy decisions. Like you go and make an economic policy decision and you realize I'm really alienating a certain section of this industry, and it's very fine with you. So these are the kind of decisions. These are all the reasons, again, why never again is important. Because they don't just fall out of the sky. It's not magic. There are people who consciously make these decisions, and they say this is what is going to be the price.
But they're saying, I remember talking to some of the, in fact, I interviewed Hamidou Jah when the crisis happened a few months back. And when I spoke to them, their argument was they have the capacity. In fact, those importers, if they're buying from them, they make more profit instead of buying from Senegal. But their main problem is the ports, because they bring their vessels and the vessels come to the port and they're there for months, sometimes weeks. They cannot offload it.
You see how inefficient state institutions actually affect economy in the country itself.
In fact, I saw an interview with his managing director, going off on the ports because they have vessels lined up that they cannot bring down.
Yeah, and
if that is not effective, they cannot also do whatever they're supposed to do. So it looks like it goes back to government policies. Number one, privatizing the port and believing that they are going to be more effective, and they're not. And then that effect is on everything else, from our rice to our cement and it trickles down to the economy. So it's, like you said, it's a policy decision.
Yeah, but that's what we have. We have sort of an erratic system that always, does this and then it falls. But again, the port is a very, 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 very important aspect of the Gambia's economy, right? And imagine the institutional decay we're talking about, the corruption that went on for so long until it was a sort of an audit that had to bring it out, and then nothing is being done about these things. We still have these heads right in those places, and we have indictments over some of their heads, but nobody seems to care about doing anything. And that is what is across the board. So it's a sad one, and what we do is continue to advise government, talk and do whatever. But it's important because this, the poverty, for example, poverty, right, in this country, we like to say alaleake or whatever. Poverty in this country is not caused by God. It's caused by bad economic policies. It's caused by, so these are the actual reasons. For example, go to a bank in Gambia. You spend like 2 hours setting banks, right?
Yeah.
You could have used that 2 hours to do something else. The same as traffic, the same as all of those things. So it's really about the decisions that we make, the people in these places and the decisions they make. It's also about the public. For example, I'll just drag back a little bit. I think that's really important to say, which is that as political parties, for example, you mentioned, right? It's a mutual responsibility we all have. Both government and who's not in government have a mutual responsibility. And like Uncle Madi said, it's just a matter of trying to inform our people, not incite them.
Yes.
Right? So there is no point that it is really worth making certain remarks, right? We're just trying to educate each other. And so that could be done in very measured ways. It's also important to say, because we might also be seen as always talking about the government. It's because they have the greater responsibility. People, they pay their taxes to the government. And if the government says 9 o'clock, nobody goes out, it's a curfew, nobody's going out. No opposition party can do that. No opposition leader can do that. So if a government minister is making claims, statements like that, it is more appropriate for that government minister to be reprimanded than even the political party. You might see it in any way and call it incitement, but that's the reason. But it's also important that we have responsibility across the world, especially in terms of messaging, in terms of communication. Because whoever you are, whether you're an opposition or you're just trying to bring people to you, you're not trying to push them away. But if we incite, it's also a problem. We're going to be in this back and forth, and we have more important things to focus on. We have loads of audit reports that Watson Gambe is helping to make us understand some of those things. It's really important. These are the issues that we need to ask for about this government. But it's an indictment to the failure of the government, because if you have all these audit reports, they've been happening for 9 years. What has really changed? You know, and even if you say these things cannot happen overnight, but if people are found wanting, they need to be held accountable. Even that is not happening. That's the problem. It's only a few people that get scapegoated, and then after a few months they are out. It's a bad system, and it's not going to get us anywhere. So that's the problem. We have a leadership issue, and it really needs to be addressed.
Well, if the president tells us, ni UDP tol fe ofe mandi tol wal kadiente bari kon kana tatam ke mbe tatam ke nga fourth time ke nga fifth time ke, does that not depend on us, the people? Because we have the power, we vote. Yes, he can seek for these terms, he can run up to 10 times if he wants, but to make him president, that really depends on who. Is it not us, the people?
Yeah, certainly, but on both though. I mean, ultimately the people bear responsibility, have that duty to vote, and you would assume that people would vote, you know, in what is in the best interest, of the country. You know, which would salvage the country. But at the same time, the president also has a responsibility to make sure that he positions himself in a way that favors the country. So seeking a third term does not favor the country. Talking about fourth term, fifth term, it doesn't favor the country. You know, because the longer you stay, you know, the tendency for abuse, for corruption, for inefficiency to flourish is very high.
It's high.
You know, so the idea of one person sitting there for long doesn't augur well. So that is a duty of the president to realize, look, in the best interest of my country, all right, not to even talk about your own legacy and or even the consequences, because at the end of the day, if you stay for that long, things would happen. And one day you'll be held to account.
Pick more baggage than.
So you'll be held to account. So even aside from that, but what is best for my country, as the leader, which is my responsibility, I will make sure I don't go beyond two terms at most. You know, imagine Mandela, the decision he took. You know, elected, loved, you know, popular, and you know, in any way you can imagine he would have won a second term and so on. But he just took a conscious decision, understanding that this is what I should do for the best interest of my country. And we can see, you know, even if after he left, some people messed it up, but you know, we see where Mandela stands in the world today. You know, so someone needs to think deeply. You know, because
it's never late.
You don't have power. You are not invincible. I mean, you are just a mortal man.
It's never late.
Yes, and you know, today we can see Barrow claiming all acts of bravery, but that is just because you have the mic and say it. I mean, at the end of the day, you are no more brave than anyone. Maybe, you know, half of the country even contributed more to this country than you ever did. So you must be humble, but also sensible to realize that, look, this is not in the best interest of not only my country, but even myself. So, but ultimately people also have a duty to do this. But, you know, if in our part of the world, and which sometimes not even our part of the world, I mean, society, what do people know? What are people's fears and concerns and issues and so on? But, you know, in our part of the world, you can do a lot of things to get votes that are not necessarily right. You know, I mean, Samia Suluhu in Tanzania got 98% of the vote, even though people protested against him afterwards. So one needs to be really humble and realistic, and see how do you help your country and help yourself. And I wish somebody wakes up Barrow, because it appears he's incapable of advising, guiding himself, but also the folks around him are not willing, you know, to properly guide him, and which is a tragedy, because the people around him, they have the capacity to guide him, you know, but they are not helping him, and rather they are, fueling, the fire in the misdirection in which he is.
Sometimes that's why the intellectuals are the poison of the country.
Yeah.
Most countries, because you have a responsibility. We have a country that has a very low education level, right? We have the same thing in terms of exposure, in terms of understanding of a lot of things. We had one radio station until 9 years ago. That's really unimaginable, right, for some people. So in terms of understanding, look at, everything. So we have people who've got the ability and the opportunity to experience life at certain levels, right? And they've seen the world, they've seen understanding, they've seen what really happens in efficient places, right? And things can really move, things could really move if this was happening, right? But again, because of, some form of individual gain, you don't want to toe these lines. And again, it comes back to a more important thing, like a more sacred thing. A lot of sacrifice has been put into this so that we have a country that we sort of move to another level. And not a lot of people really care. Not a lot of people really have that consciousness still to think that it's still a crusade and we should put in like genuine work to get it going. So that also is a problem. But it's society. But what is important is that people will still hold, history itself will hold some people for who they are, really. So
yeah. Hopefully, hopefully. A lot of us remember the catalyst of this to change. It seems Barrow has a different understanding of how it happened, but a lot of us...
It's a very different story.
There are different stories. Yeah. We understand the other stories, and the president and his team understand their own story. Hopefully, all Gambians have a different version of how it happened. Now, let's look at Sanna Manjang's arrest. Over the weekend, we got news that he was arrested in was it the weekend? Yeah. He was arrested in Senegal, in Casamance. Yeah. What was your initial reaction when you heard about the arrest?
Well, first of all, I'm like, okay, is it one of the facets of the whole Jammeh homecoming, festival? Because there was a whole drama around it. And so, because I had also said in a previous Kerr Fatou interview that it's two things about Jammeh claiming he would come back. Jammeh is not a fool, right? Anybody who thinks Jammeh is not intelligent, you might be underestimating him, but he is. Yeah. And so definitely he's been in power for that long. So he understands the channels that really gets to bring back somebody of his personality back to the country. So he definitely knew what he was doing. At some point I said he was just playing with the emotions of those that are emotionally attached, to him. To him. Yes, he was doing that. But also, I did not doubt the fact that there could be other facets to this, right? Because it's just Jammeh and how we all know how he feels about these things. But the whole point is I was not also able to establish whether the Sanna Manjang incident and the story around it, which said there was a potential coup in planning, and the relation that has with Jammeh. I know a lot of people were putting these things as potential things that I'm doing, but I don't feel like they are, because I also understood that he was arrested in relation to arms and timber trade. I've heard news like that. So I really think it's a plus for our justice-seeking crusade, because we keep getting them down, like one person at a time, And even though it seems slow, it looks slow that justice is happening, but I think the long arc of justice just bends for everybody, in Switzerland, in the US, everywhere, even in the back door in Casamance. So for me, I think it's a moral booster, right? Even though it's also a call for the government to really look at things different, because every time these things happen, they kind of bring out a certain loophole, right? We have a lot of alleged junglers in the country. Why are they not charged? What is the reason why they're just moving freely? And most of these people are actually accomplices and teammates of Sanna, right? So if today Sanna is being charged, for example, for some of these murders, why not other people, right? Yeah. Even though it's a plus, Sanna will go down, and then we'll keep having a lot of people go down, and this will eventually be the case for against Jammeh, the grand case. But then,
people that
what is the question? Yes, those that are in the streets is also important. So in my opinion, I think they're too isolated until I find another information. But I feel like Jammeh's homecoming thing is just him pinching on the emotions of his people. And then Sanna, on the other end, is also, for me, it also tells something else, which is the fact that when Jammeh said everything, right, and the APRC, Noto Alliance people who are Jammeh's people and who defied all of these things and TRRC reports, everything, you know, they disagree with everything. It's a show to them that these things are going to happen. It doesn't matter what you say. This thing is really going to happen. But another perspective about it is also that how serious are we about this? Because it was until Jammeh said he was going to come back and claim his God-given seat, the presidency, that we started to see President Barrow actually addressing Jammeh in bold ways. Before that was not happening. Before that, he was cozying up with the Jammeh team, right? And so we see a lot of political expediency and also see some form of dishonesty, if you would call it. But the important thing is that the government has a responsibility, and Barrow's government knows they have a responsibility. And then there's a lot of things that are being done in the works, and it's really like coming up. Example, in terms of building the case, especially for all of these perpetrators, because I understand there's a special division that's also about to be functioning. All of these things are happening, actually. But the important part is also the political decisions. I mean, the political actions. Because we have a community that asks for justice. Each one of these names, each one of these people have families that continue to cry about their actions, right? And they were doing this as government officials, right? As members of the government. And so it doesn't matter whether Jammeh is here or not. The government that inherited Jammeh's government has the responsibility to make sure the lots of people that continue to ask for justice, right? They get it. Because it's like also an indictment to the efficiency of the state. If this country, since after the change, cannot really give justice to each individual. Maybe today, personally, I could say otherwise, you know, if I were thinking individually, but it would be a different question for another family, for other children, right? And the government has a responsibility to make sure that we give answers to these children. It has to make sure that the remains that are sitting in the mortuary, they get identified, right? And then they get the befitting burials and the rights that they deserve. And these things cannot be done without actually getting the perpetrators and having the questions answered. Also, getting them behind bars is important, but it's also important that we don't just go arrest people and put them behind bars, but we identify the mortal remains and give them back to their families and bury them, and also give reparations. I know the Reparations Commission is doing work, and is, you know, we're doing work together, which is very fine. But the issue of getting the mortal remains identified, I think is also another issue, because it was November 10, 11, last few weeks. And then we've also had the families talk about how they still want answers. And the government should provide them answers. Should.
Madi, Sanna has been charged with the killing of the Hydra, Haruna Jatta and Dongo Job, I think, and some others. You called for transparency in the process. Yes, we want him tried, but you call for transparency. Why is that important?
Yeah, because transparency is a pillar of justice. It provides legitimacy. It creates public trust. You know, so without it, we can crumble down everything. And I think the consequence would be far greater. And in a matter like this, the best tool in the hands of the government is transparency. So deploy it as much as possible. As the Americans would say, sunshine is the best disinfectant. So put the light on so that people see what is happening. So that in that regard, I have a number of questions, you know, regarding this whole matter. You know, for example, Sanna has been responsible, according to the TRC report, accepted by the government white paper, for the killing of a lot more people. So the idea of identifying few people and charging him for that, I want to know what is the government's rationale for that. But also, I'm also concerned that we are in the process of creating a special tribunal, and where these prosecutions are supposed to be held.
Yeah.
And, as Mohammed said, there are junglers walking around.
Yeah.
Of course, because they had an arrangement. If you come to the TRRC and testify honestly and so on, you would be let go, until the tribunal is set up. So I think eventually they have to be tried. So if you try Sanna now, what about when the tribunal comes? Are you going to try him for the other people? Because he was a key person in the killing of the West Africans, for example.
Yeah.
And of course, many other people other than Data and others. So what is going to happen there? All right. So I'm concerned about that. Eventually, if that tribunal comes up, what would happen to Sanna? Would he be tried there or not? Especially if through this process he had been, already convicted and serving in prison. But also, even if it comes to that tribunal, I wonder what would be Sanna's role or conduct. Will he cooperate or be a hostile witness? Because I saw when the court opens this yesterday or so, he seems to say he doesn't recognize the court.
He said he wasn't going to be speaking to the court.
Going to be speaking to the court.
Said that?
Yeah, for his bail, when he was given bail. So that tells me, okay, his trial is not going to be easy if he starts with that.
It's not going to be easy.
All right. But also, I want to know, why would the government send him to a magistrate's court?
But the case has been transferred to the High Court now.
Yeah, but
I think
instead of a court-martial, why?
Hold on. Because the point is, of course, the magistrate court will transfer it.
Yes.
Because the magistrate court cannot try those kind of crimes.
Is it a jurisdiction issue?
Yes, the magistrate's court. This is the High Court tries those capital offenses.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the state knows that. The police prosecutors, they know that.
Yeah.
So why would you take it to this place when this is not the place for it? And then naturally it will be sent there. So what is the plan? All right. So I asked those questions to myself to say, look, is this the best way to do this? Or could we have gone through another process where Sanna would be kept under custody? Because he did not testify in the TRRC. So he may not enjoy the privilege these other ones who testified enjoy, who are at their homes.
But if he is kept beyond the 72 hours, somebody like you will be saying...
Of course, but that's a process.
Okay.
That's a process, because 72 hours is for the police to detain you.
Okay.
But the courts can detain you beyond 72 hours. And so there's a whole process, another process that could have been taken, so that, you also factor in, the profile of this person. And of course, the whole process that is unfolding, which is the transitional justice, the setting up of this tribunal. So we prepare him for that.
Could that be the reason why they brought only these 3 murders? Because we know the Ghanaian case they have not brought. They brought the Haruna Jata, the Hydra, and Ndongo Job one.
Ndongo Mbub.
Yes.
So maybe they're keeping the
Haruna Jame, actually.
Yeah, and Haruna Jame, right? Maybe they're keeping the these other ones for the tribunal.
Yeah, so again, as I said, that is a matter of transparency. And so I don't know what strategy the government is playing. So I just have these concerns. But, Fatou, going further is to say, there are some things you can play with.
Yeah. And
that is what Barrow tried to do, to play with the transitional justice process by going to Jammeh, former alliance with Jammeh, bringing back the enablers, spreading them across his cabinet and parliament, just for power. All right. So that eventually we got to a point where now Jammeh is confronting you. And then next we see you, Sanna is captured. And you wonder, because many narratives came, even saying he wanted to stage a coup. Yeah. Only for others to say, no, he was actually hustling, in the forest, in Casamas. Yeah. I understand. But also, was government ever eager to arrest Sanna and to bring all these people to justice? Because, before his arrest, you will hear accounts, true or false, that Sanna was coming into the Gambia.
Yes.
He even had his wife, pregnant one time, who delivered, and so on, and was coming to Casamas in and out, and so on. So was government ever serious in pursuing these perpetrators to capture them? Because I feel, if government was doing that with the collaboration with Senegal and Guinea-Bissau, it should not be difficult to capture any jungler out there, because it is Sanna. Other junglers are there, not yet arrested. And so, but when I think about the matter further, therefore, it brings to mind what we said here at Small Center when Jammeh said was coming.
Yeah,
we issued a statement suggesting that the president establish a presidential committee.
Yeah.
All right. Now, of course, it's been ignored, but today I see that committee more than necessary, because you have captured somebody like Sanna.
Yeah.
Was there any preparation, anticipation of this arrest, so that when now Sanna lands in your hands, what do you do with him? Now, immediately we see within 72 hours you take him to court. The court says no, magistrate's court is not our jurisdiction. You will take it to the High Court, and you will take him to the High Court.
Yeah.
All right. Are you going to try him like Yankuba Toure and then, jail him once and for all? Will he ever come back to the tribunal? But even his trial in the High Court, how cooperative or hostile will he be?
Yeah.
And so it raised the question in my head, therefore, what is government's plan? What strategy really is in place?
Yes.
So that we know how to deal with this. What if we capture tomorrow they've captured Anuha Baji or Suleiman Sambu, and others also who are there. Are they all going to go through the same process?
Actually, I was expecting a press conference from the Ministry of Justice. I actually expected that, because I felt like you said, it's like he's a key informant. He's potentially a very key informant. He's been basically present in more than 50% of all these incidents we talked about. But it's normal procedure. You see, even when we have these discussions, we realize most of the remnants of the dictatorship and the way institutions operate hasn't really gone away. Sanna, maybe he's being taken to the magistrate's court in the interest of delaying time, so that the prosecution probably have time to build cases and something like that.
Yeah.
It's very possible. Even if that's not the case, that is what we have seen happen, over the years. So all of these things are issues. But I feel like it's like a long run that we will get into. But again, there's more questions that are asked, and then it's an issue of transparency more than anything, because information sort of it cuts down the speculations that would go on, right? But again, there's not much information as of now from, let's say, the head of the TJ actors, let's say the Ministry of Justice. There's not as much information to really know what is going to be of Sanna's fate in the interest or in the perspective of the TJ process, for example, the court and all that. That I haven't had any information on yet, and I hope that they would make a decision. Like Uncle Madi said, it's important that we know whether he goes this way or the other way, because again, that's important. If he goes, if you take him to a normal trial like a Yankuba Toure type of trial, you might not get him to cooperate with you in the other incidents.
Because
much to trade off.
Yeah. Because, for example, if you bring Jammeh to court, Yankuba Toure may not be cooperative, because at the end of the day, he's serving a lifetime. So there's no value he's going to get, or benefit he's going to get, unless you tell him, if you cooperate, we reduce, So which means, Fatou, I think government needs to go back and sit on a round table. Now, we've got all the instruments for the special mechanism, all right? The special tribunal, and I think they said they will set it up in 2026. All right, and I hope they do, because with the election coming, with the alliance with APRC and some of the NATO alliance jumping over now to Barrow wants votes in Fonyi and so on. So I hope truly they will set it up. But then when they set it up, okay, we have a handful of junglers here already. The Madi Jobarteh and so on. Oh yes, they are here.
Yeah.
Now we have Sanna. All right. I mean, if they didn't try him through the High Court already, but then the big fish is Jammeh himself. But there are others outside as well. All the Edward Singates are there. They are all supposed to be prosecuted and so on. Now, is the government going to take its time as and when we capture them? And how long will that be? Or will the government realize, look, since we are setting up this in 2026, we are setting up a committee right now purposely to get these persons, so that those in Senegal, those in Guinea-Bissau, those in Nigeria, those in the UK, all right, we are going to engage the necessary institutions to get them, Interpol, the governments of those people, ECOWAS, AU, UN, and you know, with a time that we want to get these people, because 2026 we have to gather all these people here and try them.
Yeah.
Which means we are going to Equatorial Guinea to engage with the government of Equatorial Guinea to hand over. You know, because I've not seen the government make a formal application to the government of Equatorial Guinea to say hand over your Jammeh.
Yeah.
Engage the government of Ghana, because Ghanaians were involved, Nigerians were involved.
We don't need to do that. Jammeh wants to come back.
Well, you know, that is Jammeh's decision to come back. He's saying we are not going to act based on what he wants.
Okay.
We will be proactive. That is, the government should be proactive to say, we are going to get you. Whether you want to come back or not to get back, we are going to get you. And we will deploy all resources and use all mechanisms. Equatorial Guinea is a member of the African Union. We are African Union relevant mechanisms. We will engage them to engage Equatorial Guinea. We will engage the UN to engage Equatorial Guinea. And we will engage Equatorial Guinea directly as government to government. All right. So I think that level of seriousness is what is required. And it should be done. I mean, it's already 2026 in December, you know. So, and December is, you know, you look at the election fever, it's like next week is the election, with all the things that are happening. So that means government cannot just sit there to think that, when we capture them, we set it up. No. I mean, that is not to mention, in fact, you know, the setting up of the body itself. I hear they are, I think, advertising positions for special prosecutor yes. and so on. So I think the setting up of the mechanism is one stream, but the other stream is to get the perpetrators, the accused who should be prosecuted. And I think a mechanism should be created for that. Or otherwise, we will set this thing up, and then we sit down 1 month, nothing is happening, because the persons you're supposed to try, they are not there.
They're not there. You know. And do we even know the ones in the country? What mechanisms are we put in place to make sure they don't leave the jurisdiction?
Well, I the TRRC, they have put up a mechanism to monitor them, to track them, to make them realize they cannot leave the country, so that when they are needed, they will be contacted, called upon, and to answer. I hope that is in place.
So, Mohammed, the victims, what do you think was the general feeling when Jammeh announced that he was coming back from the victims? Because, you know, I know a lot of people are looking forward to closures. A lot of, I'm not sure if there's been that, because we were already waiting for people to be tried and be accountable for their crimes. So, in some aspect, people have not had closures from losing their loved ones. But when Jammeh announced that he was coming, what was the general feeling from the victims?
Well, I believe more, for example, from a personal perspective, I see it as quite troubling, and it's going to basically wake up some old emotions that are probably just snoozing, you know, because, again, people are asking for answers, right? And before getting these answers, this guy is coming back. And there's a whole atmosphere that seemingly welcomes him. That's done an alliance with his friends, that's gone to visit his home without visiting the victim center, you know? So, a lot. You have perpetrators getting reinstated in government, cozying up with government. So all of that, there's not much hope that the government would have done something. So that is definitely a recipe for re-traumatizing anybody who is genuinely interested, right? Because I have my family killed, this man is the one who ordered for their killings. At least it was done under his authority, right?
Yeah.
And 9 years down the line, he's coming back into this country. Nothing is being said about prosecuting him, right, if he comes back.
But don't you think his coming back also brings that closer? Because if he runs, obviously he will be arrested, he will be tried, and at some point of justice will happen.
What I am driving at is that there is no indication, right, for most people in the victim community to believe that Jammeh is going to be tried immediately he gets here, right? Because very recently, example, just take this, is a very logical one, right? President Barrow was very lenient and very considerate to visit Jammeh's home and make a coalition, make a deal with his members. And he has a parliament, a member of parliament, like the Speaker of Parliament. You have the Speaker of Parliament who is heading the delegation. Somebody as powerful as Speaker of Parliament is heading the delegation to meet the international bodies to sort of submit a petition to bring back Jammeh. All of these things, right? For an ordinary person, there's no hope, really. There's more of re-traumatization than really any hope of getting any form of justice, at least not at the apparent time. So for me, what I was saying, there's going to be more chaos, because some people might not just fold up their hands. They might want to ask for justice, even if they're not retaliating. They might ask for justice in some form of way. And then that might be a recipe for more chaos, right? That was my idea of it. But I also believe that it re-traumatized a lot of people. You talk to a lot of people. My mom, basically, you talk to her, she was talking the whole day, talking about how that would never be unfair, like how, you know, and a lot of people, she probably has some form of information to understand that there's a whole process, and even, you know, whatever happens, Jammeh would probably not just be a free man in Gambia. But other people might not have that. The Barrow's actions or the silence might give off that impression that we're just on the losing side, because there's some form of seriousness, some level of seriousness that should have been put into this pursuit, this whole crusade for justice, which would have made it more promising for victims like me and other children who haven't seen their parents still, to really believe, okay, we will get justice, right?
For the first time we have had Jammeh, Barrow openly address Jammeh's...
No, because he was threatening his throne, so he was going to go back at him. But, you know, that's the point. But if he had used that much energy, that much, vigor to say, okay, I'm going to make sure Jammeh gets to power. I'm going to send an envoy to Equatorial Guinea and tell the president of Equatorial Guinea, or through the AU, you know, that we would be needing Jammeh. We want to start discussions on that. That's not done. And that's probably easier to do than maybe form a coalition or go there. But again, it's in the grand scheme of things, sometimes it is more important, it is more necessary to consolidate power than to do the things that you promised you were going to do. You know, so
this guy, Kerr Fatou, from the Victim Center, he was on the Grand Bantaba last week, and I heard him say that the President Barrow has never visited the Victim Center. You also echoed that right now, that he has never visited the Victim Center. And I saw some comments when the president went to Charoy anniversary. This is the second anniversary in Senegal. The first one, he was there. The second one, he was there. He even laid, you know, those things that they do at the side. There.
Oh, wow.
And you know, I saw on the comments people were saying, you never visited the Victim Center, but you went to Senegal the second time.
We're still waiting for a visit. We're still waiting for a visit. He promised in March. We met him, and then he promised. It was either last year, March of last year.
He promised.
Yes, we had a discussion, and then we invited him to visit the Victim Center. Yes, he promised he would visit the Victim Center. We're still waiting for it, but it's not happening. So clearly, there's interests are somewhere else. You know. That's very clear.
So Father, I think the fact of the matter is, this president has never been prepared. We have to be fair to him to lead.
What do you mean he has never been prepared to lead?
Because he's never been aware of the responsibilities and the weight
of the presidency,
of that presidency, and of kind of understanding the the ramifications or his bearings and the entire circumstances.
I agree.
Because one has to be aware of that. Fatou, indeed, we all campaigned for Jammeh's removal, and the coalition put this person up, and we didn't know him, but it was necessary. We have regime change. And early on, I think for me, February 19 was when he was installed. But by February 20, I'm like, okay, this is not it.
It's enough.
Yeah, we have not. We have to be vigilant because we don't have. He's not the guy. And I remember a number of friends at that moment. Madi, give chance to this government. They've not even started.
Yeah.
And I remember asking my friend, he's in Spain. I said, but what? So how much time should we give? He said, well, at least 2 years. I'm like, do you know what is 2 years? Do you know what is government? Do you know how much power is going into this man's hand? Legally speaking, do you know the role, the function, position of a president, and what the president means? If you should sit with Barrow in a closed door and he tells you the amount of information he gets every day, the quality, the level of information he gets, the kind of people he meets, he gets to talk to, who call him, the kind of decisions that are on his table. The presidency is not a joke.
It's not.
And so whoever holds the position of a president, that's why Obama agreed with him. It reveals you. Because if it finds you unprepared, it is going to be a mess. And because in the presidency, there's no second chance. Because you are making life and death decisions right there. So you have to get it right, or it gets terribly wrong, and the consequences are just, So this is where we are, that this president came not understanding what is transitional justice, not appreciating the need for transitional justice in the first place, that this country needs to transform. And then he started to toy with serious decisions, going to form an electoral alliance with APRC, going to visit Jammeh's home, and he and his team playing with this idea about reconciliation and unity, and we are one people, craziness. So now things are going to backfire on him, because that Jammeh immediately is calling you a donkey, for example. Yes. I mean, he's threatening you, saying, if I find you there. Yeah. All right. And immediately you realize, look, in fact, let's go and get Sanna Manjang. I mean, let's go after all his people. All right. But then the story is not over yet. You've not visited the victim center, and you are going to Charoy. All right. And we have victims down here in this country, and you bear responsibility for those victims, because the state killed those victims. The state tortured them, and the state is a continuity. So you are responsible.
That's actually more close to home. These are things that happened in your era.
Yeah.
Like, you actually witnessed these things happen.
Yeah, but even if you don't witness them, the fact that you now the head of that state, and that state is that killed Solo Sandeng.
Yeah.
That state killed Dela Hydra. That state killed Ndongo.
Yeah.
All right. That state killed the April 2000. All right. That state has tortured, the Fatmata Jawaras, the Lankomas until they died. You know what I'm saying? Huh? The Umi Jans, and so on. Yusufaka Mbai, Seni Senghor, and the list is too many, and they are here. So you, as the head of the state, it is your responsibility that these people, that there is justice, and that justice is very broad. Is prosecutions, is reparations, is health care, is social economic benefits. It's dignity above all. So when you don't fully comprehend this matter, and you try to toy with it, and you have all these unscrupulous people giving you, misguiding you, and you think you are the lion killer, one day it will just pop up on your face, and Barrow will see a lot more, because look, innocent souls were destroyed. And those souls now in this country, they need nobody on this earth right now more than you as the president. Because you are the one now who should salvage their souls by making sure they have justice.
They rest in peace.
So and they rest in peace. So the souls of all these people are standing up, all those victims. are standing up. People, are suffering with pain at home right now as we are speaking.
Yeah.
All kinds of pain, and they all need you to set up a reparations committee, put money there, and fly them to anywhere in the world so they can get treatment.
Yeah.
Now, all of that, does Barrow understand? All of that is on my head as the head of state.
Yeah.
Because the state is a continuous, entity. So we can say, yeah, Jamie, but at the end of the day, who sets up the reparations commission?
Yes.
Who sets up the TRRC? It's still the state. We are still talking about the police, the NIA, the military, the ministries, the parliament. It's still the state that is going on.
Yeah.
The individuals will come and go. But anyone who is sitting there at that particular time, at that material time, you are responsible. So this is the realization Barrow should have. Unfortunately, he doesn't have this realization. But the folks around him in his cabinet, they should have that realization and put him through. His so-called advisors should put him through. His so-called surrogates and everyone, they should put him through that, look, this is a life and death issue we are dealing with. This is not a joke.
I think we need a new constitution that will allow state ministers or whoever is appointed to tell the president, look, you're not on the right track, and they would do it without fear of being fired. Because I guess that's the reason. I feel like a lot of people...
Mohammed, I hate to cut you, but no. The current constitution, in terms of that, is adequate. And look, at the end of the day, fire me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Fire me, I will resign.
Everybody's not like you, Madi.
No, because at the end of the day, I will survive. I'm sure you would, support. I will support, and that is it. Because human beings have used each other as ladder to excel. We've served as step for somebody to. So what is the problem with being sacked? As if that is the only job. And particularly on a matter that is about the collective.
Yeah.
So that how would you prioritize your selfish interest and ignore the collective interest? So let them be sacked. But it may not even get there. The Constitution, Section 77 area, it has said it. All right. The cabinet, they are the key advisors to the president.
Yeah.
The decisions are collective. So it doesn't matter what kind of minister you are. When you sit in that cabinet, advise the president. Because advising the president, you are advising yourself and to manage this country, to govern this country. And I think the cabinet is, making a gross failure of responsibility.
Failure,
the fact that the situation is as it is. The pain is too much on families.
It's too much, and it's very little is being done.
Yeah.
Because for about 5 years from when the Solo Sandeng, the NIA 9 case was done, which the forensics played a great part in identifying the remains and all that. I feel like the same thing could be done for some of these remains, right?
All of them.
At the mortuary.
Yeah.
But why isn't there much effort? Because I remember during the Batamidu stint, he facilitated that, right?
Yeah.
JRR was able to send some scientists on their roster. I think this government can still do that, but
It's possible.
now again,
Do you think we have lost the goodwill from around the world to be able to support us?
Yes, because I would not say we lost it, but if some people act a certain way towards us, we cannot also blame them, because we had a whole process, right?
Yeah.
And then we started to act anyhow with it. So people are really serious,
But if people don't want to cooperate, lost hope, there are others who you will pay, they will do a good job.
Oh yeah, if you
Jammeh's proceeds, $1 billion is squandered.
Yeah.
Disappeared from the central bank.
Yeah.
But you can take $1 billion and buy vehicles for a 2-day event.
Yeah.
What is stopping you from taking $1 million and go and pay forensic experts from any part of the world to come and do what they're supposed to do? So people have got to have a sense of responsibility, Fatou. So there is nothing insurmountable, there is nothing difficult that we can do. All these victims in pain right now, the government can sit here and scan the whole world, the best hospitals. I'm saying the best of the best, identify them and send them there.
But why are we not doing that?
Yeah.
We are losing them day by day. People are
don't sit
dying.
here and talk to us about Turkey, about India, about Look, these are victims. We, the state, are responsible for these victims. And we are not going to sit here, talking about how much money. If the state can even bring back the life of Solo Sandeng, should they not do it? If that costs $1 billion, they should pay it and bring him back.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yes. And we are just saying, cure somebody, treat somebody. How much would that cost? Take him to the biggest hospital in America or in Finland or in Dubai. Our people have to have a sense of responsibility. That look, this is a moral responsibility I have, because if my child, my mother or my sister, my wife, my daughter is in that pain, like I think I would not want they spend $1 billion on him.
Yes.
So if a minister's son is like that, if the president's son is like that, the president's mother, did we spend $3 million to send the president's mother to Senegal just for a checkup? The state did not shoot the president's mother.
And the state basically has no responsibility in that.
She's not the responsibility of the state.
Yes.
But the state took our money to transport her. But these are people now who were shot, tortured, raped, killed by the state. What is there to negotiate about that, to reconsider about that?
That reminds me of Nogonjai.
Yeah.
We had to do a fundraising. We had to do a fundraising.
Yeah.
I remember handing over
the state should have picked on Nogonjai and sent her to the best hospital at the end of the world.
Yeah.
If that costs $1 billion, let's pay $1 billion for it. Because also the state, what they did to Nogonjai, it means you and me as citizens, we did it. Because the state acted in our name, with our power, with our authority, because we put the state there.
That's it.
But it's so difficult for people to be moral, to be just. But you go and talk to officials and they try to, rationalize things and try to, make things look so difficult. Why would, how many bodies are there that needs to be, identified? You are telling me you because you need some forensic experts or some material or some equipment.
I think ICTJ recently did a study on the access that victims have basically on the medical board. And it will be an interesting one to look at also. Yeah. And then you'll find out how there's a lot of challenges from even transportation itself for people to get to the medical board, and a whole lot of hiccups on the way. So I think those are some of the things that should have been taken care of. Set up a medical board, make it accessible as much as you can. But if you talk to government, they don't have much money, No,
they have.
When you talk to them, that's what they say.
Yeah, no, exactly. But, Mohammed, they have.
Yes.
They are boasting that this is the government, for the first government, that is taking money from local funds and building roads.
Yeah.
Roads are important.
Yes.
But when it comes to a matter of humanity, dignity, justice, morality,
that's even more
the
important.
primary objective of this government to correct the soul of the Gambia, is to take care of victims.
It's really important.
Yeah. For me, before roads, before anything else, take care of the victims. And that is not something that is going to deny you to take care of roads. As you have gone to that local funds to take $1 billion and put it in the roads, take $1 billion and put it at the medical board to say, here are these victims. Yeah. Send them to United States, send them to, France, send them to Germany, send them to Japan. That's, they get excellent health.
I think the government also treats
that is what a responsible government would do.
The government treats this as a secondary something, right? Forgetting that somehow it is like it's like what set the agenda for this government we have now. But it sort of treats it as a secondary something, because I haven't seen government pull out from the state coffers, but more so from the proceeds.
International partner.
Yeah, from the international partner, and also the proceeds from the Jame mansion. Those are actually.
That is coming. We hope it will come and it will not be squandered like the proceeds from the assets, that got disappeared in the central bank. I hope somebody will go to jail for that.
Wow.
1 billion.
You know what that can do for just
1 billion.
Like 1,000 million.
Yes, that can take care of all the victims, including the reparations.
Yep.
Interesting. And it's going to people's pockets. That's probably sit there. Yeah. That's the interesting part. It's going to people's
and that's why it has gone.
Yes.
That's why it has gone. So I mean, Anyway.
Is it because you said something, and that really is playing in my head, that government, these victims that set the agenda for this government, but it looks like we're all forgetting that, because it is because people died. That's why we had change in 2016.
Yeah,
but it's a matter of convenience.
But
It's a matter of convenience.
In this day and age, that is not even convenient to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's shameful.
It's a matter of convenience.
Wow. Yeah,
Finally, Muhammad, what do you expect? Sanna is arrested. Government is trying to set up the prosecution in 2026, and Jammeh is planning to come. What do we look forward from government so that we can have at some point closure? If victims don't have closure, it will be difficult for us to move on as a country. This is evident. So what do you expect from government?
I think first of all is the realization, because again, like Uncle Madi mentioned, and I think that's quite important, is first of all to realize and appreciate the magnitude of what you're dealing with first, right? My working teachers got me to read case studies, and where I realized generations after some tragic things have happened in different places, for example, South Africa and other places. The fact that these things were not addressed, these systematic inequalities, these injustices actually were not addressed, they actually come back. You see other generations, like generations going after other people because they feel like these people's ancestors have done something. That's not what what I'm trying to project here, but what I'm projecting is that if you don't deal with these things adequately, the remnants will come hunting back again. So it's really important. For example, whatever we keep saying is for social cohesion, right? The social fabric in this country has been broken down a lot, right? And that is caused by, for the most part, these issues are a part of it, right? You have people whose parents have been killed, they need answers, right? And it's not that they are killed by private people. They're killed by state operatives. And so that asks a lot of questions. For example, a student that goes to a public school, how do you think they even have the trust in the teachers if a government official actually killed their father, a soldier, and the government cannot do anything about those things? So that is the realization, first of all, for government to look at it from that perspective. Again, but the next thing is, Sanna would be tried, but I think also it's important that they look at the pros and cons, because if you try him in a criminal, in this kind of a proceeding, will you have him to cooperate in subsequent ones? It's also a question. Yes, so that's also a question, important. And then we don't have the process right now. It's building up. It's going to come up. So, and we have the Sanna issue now. Are they going to keep dragging the case on? But also, we trust in the prosecution to handle it in a way that Sanna would be behind bars. But what is more important, Sanna is a key informant. It's also important that we get a lot out of him than just throwing him into mile two. Yes, because you need more questions from Sanna, because Sanna basically knows, I think, burial sites, things like that. He's basically more privy to a lot of information that most people wouldn't be. So it's also a delicate matter that they would have to navigate in very smart ways. Definitely. But apart from that, finally, I think government has a responsibility to make sure that there's closure brought to a lot of families in this country, and they cannot do that if they haven't done the forensic examinations of remains that still lay in the mortuaries. They cannot do that if they're not giving reparation, adequate and transformative reparations, which though they seem to be very much doing a lot about, and prosecutions, but these are things that really need to happen, and a lot of people would keep asking questions and will keep holding government accountable through various means for what they've done to their parents, So it's also important that government look out for those things. Yes.
Thank you very much, Muhammad. Madi, finally, what are we looking forward to from government, apart from the transparency part that you mentioned earlier?
Efficiency. We want government to be efficient, yes, and to be accountable. Ultimately, you see, these are the ingredients that will make the difference.
Yeah.
It is not the amount of money that is spent or the number of buildings, roads that are built.
Yeah.
But if there's no transparency in the processes in which they are built, if there's no efficiency in the quality that is being delivered, or is there no accountability in the way they are provided, and who benefits how and so on, you will invest a lot, but marginally it wouldn't move the country forward. And this is not a difficult thing to understand, Fatou, because we did not begin road building in the Gambia in 2017, for example. We did not start building hospitals in 2025. We did not start building universities and so on in 2017. And in 100 years' time, Gambia will build a hospital. Just as America is building a hospital today, just as in France they are building roads today. Now, the only difference between, say America or Gambia and Japan, or, it is not the amount of money they spend, it's the quality of transparency, efficiency, and accountability in the institutions, in their performance, in their delivery, and so on. And for me, that is my beef with the Gambia government today and in the past, and I guess even in the future. When transparency is lacking or is low, when accountability is weak, when inefficiency, is so high, electricity, what does it take to provide 24/7 uninterrupted electricity? You can distribute meter to every home free of charge. And if you can sit down a whole day without electricity, what is the point? And the reason for that is efficiency, accountability, and transparency. To run a ferry between Banjul and Bara, what is difficult about that? To manage Gambia ports, Banjul ports, what is difficult about that? Seriously speaking, the roads that they are building, you go to those roads, you can see that this is not quality.
See a lot.
And the examples are there on and on and on. And the only difference is not the amount of money they've spent. Yes, because the Auditor General has given us, the evidence that the corruption is there. But why is the corruption there? Because of no accountability. So this is the issue, once again, going back to the president, not understanding, the demands of the office he is holding. That if he wants to, get whatever he wants, if he wants to take the Gambia to the place he wants, these are the three pillars he has to, institutionalize. You do that, you solve every problem. But without that, you will spend, money. I hear them say, the finance minister, Ismail Assise, talking about loans. Every country takes a loan. Yes. Japan has a higher loan to GDP, debt to GDP than the Gambia. It's over 100%. United States. All right? But they have used their loans to create a socio-economic environment in which it is, easy for people to flourish, like Mark Zuckerberg in America and many other people like that. So every country will take a loan, fine. But you take our loan, and the people you take the loan from, IMF and World Bank, they classify you as a HIPIC country, highly indebted, poor country. Is that not a contradiction in terms? You take loans to a level you cannot pay back, and you are poor. It makes you poorer.
Depend on the unproductive sectors.
So these are not strange things or difficult things. So that's why sometimes, I have friends, across the government. We all have friends across the government. But Minister of Finance, Minister of Trade, because I take them to a very, very critical ministry. And I always ask, what job do you people do? What economy do you manage? Really? What economy do you manage? What support do you give to our trade people?
We have a huge informal sector.
The informal sector. Huge. So, Fatou, that's my last word to say. As we are going into this election, the onus is on President Barrow to stabilize this country, to end hate speech, political intolerance. The onus is on him to protect the integrity and the credibility of our institutions, such as the police, and to refrain from using them to weaponize them against citizens. As we speak, more than 40 youths are going to court, all right, on the police charge or under the court for merely demanding accountability. All right. And when those institutions like Pura, it is how long you said you have set up a presidential committee on data. All right. Since August until today,
we have never even had
no report. And the situation has not changed. What is more inefficient, than that? And yet still poorer people are going to work and going up and down, nothing is happening. But you can charge 44 youths. They did not steal any butut. They did not break any vehicle. They did not rape. They did not kill. But then you take them to court for merely standing up and saying accountability. So I hope, therefore, all citizens, and particularly our civil society and our media, realize that responsibility of accountability, holding the government accountable, all right, to ensure that there is transparency and efficiency. We don't need any favors from government. We don't need any explanation from government. We need results. Yes, we need to see results from government. And we should be non-negotiable about that, Fatou, because Fatou, we are 60 years old today. So, and this country is highly endowed by the Almighty. We have abundance of natural resources, so that this country should be one of the wealthiest countries on earth today, one of the most advanced. And that failure since independence is what we are dealing with. So government should be impatient at the state of affairs and the inefficiency, the lack of transparency, the corruption, the poor performance, the abuse of the law that is spread across this government and any government that comes to this country. So that is what I wish to share.
Hopefully, before we come back again next week or tomorrow, we will get some news about Bori. As we speak, he's still detained at the police station, charged with incitement. It's just unbelievable.
Demba probably smiling. I'm lucky I'm not charged.
Well, he will not be charged anyway. Demba Chabal knows he will never be charged. He's a state minister. We have law that protect all of them. If we say anything against them, we can be charged and arrested, but they can say whatever against us. That law itself is discriminatory. So for me, that's where it starts.
That's why I say this republic has to be overhauled.
So
it has to be overhauled.
Yes, because it's more of made for a certain sect, for
the people in the state.
At some point, we all
it's made to protect the state. And
look at the 2026 budget, like every other budget. It is for the comfort and the welfare
of the state
and the happiness of state officials, especially at the higher
office.
You cannot believe it. Like when you go through like some of the decisions that are made, you realize, oh my God, like who are they really working for?
For themselves.
It's
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Muhammad. Thank you, Madi. It's always interesting to have you on the show. And until we come your way next week, good night to you all. See you again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jar Oil is Gambia's leading dealer when it comes to fuel and has made it a duty to satisfy our customers at all costs. Vehicle owners and drivers need not to worry about getting quality and affordable fuel anymore. That is the reason we have our branches spread all over the country for easy access. For good and clean fuel, the only place to go is Jar Oil. Your need for good and durable petrol, gasoline and kerosene has been covered by Jar Oil, so you need not to worry. Walk to any of our branches and get served to satisfaction. With Jar Oil, your satisfaction is our priority. That is why we have branches at your doorstep to make accessibility easy for you. With our professional and friendly staff, we can assure you satisfaction. To get the best fuel for your engines, the only place to go is Jar Oil. With Jar Oil, it's all enjoyment. That is why we are offering you low charges at our stations on the Coastal Road and Banjul. For more information, you can call 770-8080, 322-9070, 714-7273, or 387-1321. Jar Oil, the pride of the nation.
We are happy to announce the launch of our new logo. We have evolved since our incorporation in 1997, and it is time to refresh our new look to reflect who we are today. Before I reveal our new look, however, walk with me while I take you through our journey of the last 25 years. Trust Bank was incorporated on July 3rd, 1997 and began operations on October 1st, 1997. Following the collapse of the parent company of its predecessor, Meridian, the CBG stepped in and recapitalized the bank and held the shares in trust, thus the name Trust Bank. In 1999, the first investors who responded to the IPO and paid $1.50 per share received their maiden dividends of 50 bututs per share. In 2000, the bank fully paid back its investment by declaring another dividend of $1.20 bututs per share, making it a cumulative dividend per share of $1.70, which was 20 bututs above the purchase price. Between 2002 to date, share capital has increased from $27 million to $200 million, indicating that the bank has grown organically by plowing back profits to increase capital, while at the same time paying dividends to shareholders. The bank was listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange in November 2002, being the first ever cross-border listing in the sub-region. Now let's talk about awards. The bank was awarded the insignia of the National Order of the Republic of the Gambia, ORG, in the year 2010 by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia. During the past years, the bank has received so many national and international awards. Banker Magazine, 6 times. Global Finance, 6 times. Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, 5 times. We began operations with 3 branches. Now, we have 18 branches and 20 ATMs and counting. On digital services, mobile app, check. Online banking, check. Transaction alerts, check. Watch this space. We've got more coming. Creating employment, yes, we've got that too. 400 and counting. And we take great care of our people too. Medical insurance, life insurance, private and state pensions, annual pilgrimages for both Muslims and Christians, training, yes, we do them all. One team, one family, one goal. That's the Trust Bank spirit. On corporate social responsibility, we have spent over $50 million in various causes. We care, and so we share. Over the years, we have paid over $1.6 billion to our shareholders, which translates to a whopping $20 per share and counting. Phenomenal returns for our shareholders who purchased at $1.50. Corporate taxes, over $1 billion is paid. Our journey started with a vision to create the kind of company that delivers quality services and innovative products with an inspired team dedicated to serving our customers, our environment, and our communities at large in the most caring manner. We remain fully committed to delivering excellent services to each of our stakeholders, customers, employees, shareholders, and partners. So, we remain true to who we have always been. As we